Thank you, Mike, for your fine explanation of the flaws of this bill. However, I'm looking forward to this year's real data on warming, if there is such a thing as real, verifiable data. The whole idea of this Waxman Markey bill or any other similar bill is to extort money from the working U.S. citizen and provide untold wealth for those who are pushing this ungodly agenda while removing our God-given freedoms. Just the thought that we, mankind, can influence the temperature of the Earth is preposterous. There can be no argument against the fact that the Sun has the greatest effect on the Earth's temperature. Since we've had a substantially delayed beginning to sunspot cycle number 24 along with very low solar activity, such solar winds and storms, we are experiencing a rather significant climate change, somewhat reduced global average temperatures and a shift in what we perceive to be normal precipitation patterns. I don't think mankind had too much to do with the sunspot delay or lack of solar activity. This whole thing is a ruse and unbelievable ripoff. Here's an article called, "Do Sunspots Contribute to Global Warming?" by Christina Grifontini. As you will hear, even this author, while making a case for the sun's being a tremendous influence on the Earth's weather, has apparently drank the Kool-Aid along with the others. At the end, she seems to indicate that the sun reacts to the Earth rather than what any rational thinking person would conclude. Did you ever stand in the sun's light and get hot? Or is it that the sun got hotter and had more solar activity because you were standing in its light? I'll read her article now. Do Sunspots Contribute to Global Warming? by Christina Grifontini. If you could look at the sun through a small solar-filtered telescope, you would most likely see small, dark blotches speckled across its surface. Over a few hours or days, these sunspots, which can be several times the size of Earth and usually travel in groups, appear to slowly turn across the sun's equator. While observed for centuries, sunspots have recently been highlighted in the media for their possible connection to global warming. So what are sunspots, and might they be responsible for climate change? Like other stars, the sun is made up of dense gases and plasma that swirl together, creating complex magnetic interactions. Sunspots are knots of magnetism that block the sun's core energy, compelling the energy to eke out from sides of the spots. This obstruction of energy makes sunspots cooler than the rest of the sun's surface, 6,700 to 7,000 degrees Fahrenheit instead of 10,000 degrees, which is why they appear darker. The sun's magnetic forces strengthen and weaken in a roughly 11-year cycle, the peak of which can see anywhere from 100 to 200 spots, while the low corresponds to only a handful. The sun also burns more intensely during times of heightened magnetic activity. During these peaks, sunspots arise in myriad clusters and explosions occur that are more violent than any nuclear blast or volcanic eruption on Earth. This magnetic activity douses Earth with radiation, damaging satellites and disrupting power grids. Scientists theorize that this energy surge may also affect Earth's weather in complex indirect ways and potentially play a part in global warming. Aside from the 11-year flux, the sun also has longer cycles that vary over centuries or, potentially millennia of changing magnetic intensity, but these patterns are not yet well understood. Scientists have found that at several points during history sunspots seem to correlate to weather. During the Little Ice Age, roughly between 1500 to 1800, sunspots were unusually low for several cycles, and so too were global temperatures. In some places it was so cold Venice's canals, the Thames River, and the New York harbor regularly froze. Even though the scarcity of sunspots and low temperatures occurred at the same time, no one is sure how or to what extent the sun cycles influenced Earth's weather. Most scientists agree, however, that the human-induced increase of carbon dioxide plays a bigger role than the sun in today's climate shift. So, while they may be harbingers of climate change, until scientists better understand the sun's magnetic cycles, their effect on Earth's weather will remain mysterious and controversial. This is the end of Christina Grifontini's article. In my opinion, however, I believe that most scientists who are not drunk on the Kool-Aid do not believe that sunspots are not the direct cause of anything. Just rational thinking contradicts that statement. Did you ever stand in the sun's light and get hot? Or Is it that the sun got hotter and had more solar activity because you were standing in its light?